Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. What's up, friends? It's Michelle Grosser here. Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. Thanks for being with us today. I'm coming at you guys live from Houston, Texas today. We have finally made the trek from Miami to Houston, and it's been so fun. We sold our house. I've closed my law firm. We have transitioned in our ministry, and it's really been just that, such a season of transition. I talk about this a lot, but Jeff and I always choose words of the year, and this year, Jeff chose the word freedom, and I chose the word rest. And what we found is that we've actually kind of chosen the same word, right? But just traveling in different veins. Rest doesn't really come without freedom, and freedom brings rest right with it. So as we're both pursuing rest and freedom, it has required us to really rethink almost everything in our lives, everything we were doing, our ways of being, our mindsets, just so many things. And part of that was just our pace. Our pace was not one of rest. Our pace was not one of freedom. So we just got kind of radical and sold our house and left Miami. We got in a car with our kids and our dogs, and we took 5 days and we drove to Houston. And this is going to be our new home. We've been here for 9 days now. We're in an Airbnb. We signed a lease earlier this week. We're going to rent a house downtown for a year and just kind of get, our feet under us and get a lay of the land a little bit before we buy another house and settle in and really just enjoy this new rhythm. We've also decided to homeschool the girls this year, which is just another crazy idea that was just planted. And the more that we thought about it, and the more that we talked about our family's vision for this year, it really became clear to us that was just in alignment with it, right? We want to be mobile. We want to travel. We want to be able to get up and go at a moment's notice. We don't want to be beholden to anyone else's schedule, frankly. We want to resist all of the busyness and the crazy mornings and all of these different things and just rethink things in this season for our family, right? And I don't know how long we're going to have this rhythm. I don't know if we're going to continue to homeschool beyond this year. But what I do know is that for the next 12 months, I'm so excited to just pursue all of this newness, right? All of these new opportunities and rhythms that God's presented to me, and really just take advantage of it. So we're excited. We're exploring. We went to an Astros game. We've already been to 2 museums. We've met some new friends. We've really just been enjoying each other. So it's been so special. So thank you to those of you who've been on the journey with us. But let's get down to business. I want to talk about 5 ways today that we can just kind of assess our relationship with productivity. I don't need to tell you guys, there's someone on every corner, right? Like screaming at us about how we can be more productive, how we can increase our productivity. We should do this kind of planning or these types of lists or have this gadget or use this planner or whatever it is. And obviously, I'm all about being efficient and I'm all about productivity and I'm all about getting things done. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. Like I love to get stuff done. However, for a long part of my adult life, and probably even earlier than that, my productivity was not particularly healthy. And I wasn't even aware of it, right? I was just like on this rat race of getting stuff done. And I didn't really think much about it. And so I thought it'd be cool if we took a moment today to look at 5 different ways that I think we can just reflect on our relationship with productivity and assess, right, whether like that part of our productivity relationship is toxic or healthy. But before we do that, I always want to thank you guys, those of you who have left the show a 5-star rating or a short review, those of you who follow the show so you don't miss any new episodes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. And if you've enjoyed the Calm Mom podcast and you have not followed the show yet, make sure to do that. Just go to the show's homepage and then hit that little follow plus button at the top so you don't miss any new episodes. And then also, if you could just leave the show a 5-star rating and a short review, it takes like 20 seconds. You can just write a couple sentences, something you've learned, something that's been helpful. It's how we get the show out to other women just like us. And it's super helpful to me. So I'm so grateful for each of you. Okay. So whenever we talk about productivity, like that's just one of the main things that I hear from you guys. You want to be more productive. And if that's you, which I think it's a lot of us, you probably have like a stack of planners that you've never been able to have a long-term productive relationship with, right? You might even have like a haul from Container Store or Amazon with all these different things that you've bought or gathered to try to organize your life so you can be more productive. Maybe you've tried all of these different like time blocking things or whatever, so you can just feel like you get more done, morning routines, evening routines, whatever it is. But I know for me, for the longest time, I had the best intentions and then those things would stick for like 2 days or 2 weeks, or maybe if I was really on like 2 months. And then I would just kind of slip back to my old habits. I just felt kind of crappy because it wasn't really helping. And that was that, right? And trust me, like I was saying earlier, I'm a fan of getting things done. I'm a fan of focus time. Absolutely 100%. And I also think that our society has an obsession with productivity that's having a significant impact on our nervous system. You guys, it's causing our nervous system to become dysregulated. It places unrealistic expectations on us, especially as moms, especially as high achieving moms. Like, yes. So if you feel like the pressure and the stress to be productive is heavy and it's crushing and you're flipping tired and you feel like you run around all day long and you never stop and you just go from one task to the next, but then at the end of the day, you feel like you got really nothing of substance done, and that makes you feel crappy, right? Your so-called like productivity may not be as healthy as you think, right? You'd probably benefit from rethinking this whole productivity craze, which is what I did and what I would encourage and invite you to do, and really intentionally choosing a new approach, an approach that serves you, an approach that serves your family better in this season of life for you guys. You guys know, like I just talked about it. We just sold our house in Miami, and in this season of so much transition, that's what God's been calling us to do. Like he's been inviting Jeff and I to rethink everything. And it's really been so awesome because we've had a chance to just take a look, like take a new lens to how we've been living life and really examine, even on the smallest scale, and just asking ourselves, like, is this actually what we want? Is this how we want to feel, right? Is this the pace that we want to live? Is this the energy that we want to have, right? Is this actually how we want to go about our days? Is this, whatever it is this thing life-giving, or do we actually dread it, but we do it every day because we think we have to, or because everyone else does, or because, we've always done it that way? And wow, you guys, like what a freeing opportunity, frankly, we all have to do this whenever we want. Like you don't need to wait for a huge life transition. Like my family just went through a cross-country move, but it never really occurred to us until we had that big transition, right? Like it never really occurred to us to that magnitude until now. And let me tell you, like we're rethinking everything, right? We're not buying a house right away. We're not jumping right into like the rat race. I'm not reopening my law firm here and getting barred in Texas. We're not plugging our kids into a traditional school curriculum right now that's going to have us going like crazy in the morning. Like Jeff and I have both significantly changed so many things in such a short amount of time. We've changed what we eat. We've both gone alcohol free. And it's just been like incredible after a decade of grinding, frankly, in operating a super busy law firm, planting a church, growing a podcast, growing my coaching business, rushing morning, noon, and night, right, with the girls. Like, this feels like exactly what my soul needs in this season. It feels so freeing and it feels so healing. But I say all this to say, like, we can start with something small. It doesn't have to be this major life overhaul like I just went through. How about our mindset, right? How about our paradigms around productivity? So let's talk about why should you care about this, right? Why I think you should take a moment and reflect on whether your productivity is healthy or toxic. And then we're going to walk through pretty briefly these 5 signs on whether your productivity might not be as healthy as it could be, and how you guys can start to shift your approach when it comes to productivity so it's healthy and it serves you better. I think toxic productivity at its core is just driven by busyness, right? It's this epidemic of busyness. You feel like you're always busy. And if that's you and you're like raising your hand and you're like, yeah, I feel like I'm always busy, I love you guys so much, but that is like a red flag that your productivity needs a fresh set of eyes. That is not sustainable. That is not healing for your nervous system. That will not help you feel and be truly productive, right? Busyness, like if you're often fueled by external pressures, unrealistic expectations, maybe you have a new to-do list every day with a long list of stuff, you know, deep down, like you're never going to get it done in one day. Toxic productivity often feels like guilt and shame and self-judgment when we're not working, right? That kind of productivity leads us to sacrificing things that we say value to us, right? Our personal values, our well-being, all for what? The pursuit of, and I'm going to say this in air quotes, but like accomplishment. It creates this sense of chronic stress in our body. We feel frantic. We feel overwhelmed instead of feeling focused and calm. And when we have a toxic relationship with productivity, all of our tasks are just approached with this sense of like urgency, right? It's kind of superficial. It's kind of surface level. And we just do shallow work all day. And then that's how we stay busy all day. And we get to the end of the day and we're like, holy cow, I feel like I got nothing done. Like nothing moved the needle today. I don't feel fulfilled. I just feel like I was on the hamster wheel all day. In contrast, when our relationship with productivity is healthy, it's about achieving like big picture goals, right? It's about completing tasks in a way that aligns with our values. Not that we just say aligns with our values, but actually aligns with our values, actually supports our well-being. It's characterized by healthy integration, right? Of work and rest and parenting and marriage and house stuff, all of those things, our sense of purpose, our ability to focus deeply on the stuff that actually moves the needle. And when you're healthily productive, you prioritize tasks based on their alignment with your personal and professional goals, not the other way around, right? Your work does not run you. Your tasks do not run you. Your goals personally and professionally are what set the tone for what you focus on during a day. You give yourself permission to rest. You give yourself permission to take breaks. You give yourself permission to recharge. You understand that those periods of downtime, you guys, they're crucial for maintaining long-term productivity and creativity. It's the whole slingshot thing, right? You've got to kind of pull back. You got to kind of slow down in order to shoot forward and make progress. And for me, like this is where this year I've really learned that an hour walk in nature in the morning by myself to start my day is so much more productive than just jumping right into my work. And it's kind of been like a trust fall for me because it feels counterintuitive, right? It's like, well, no, I could actually just work and then I would be getting more done because I'm actually working. And instead, I don't work and I go walk outside in nature for an hour and get back. And let me tell you, the rest of my day, right, big picture is so much more productive. But getting that me time in nature, it regulates my nervous system to start the day. It gets the dopamine and the endorphins flowing, right? Moving my body outside in sunshine first thing in the morning. By the time I then get to my desk, I'm just so much more productive. I'm clear-headed. I'm creative, right? I'm energized. I lead better. I'm just so much more focused. Huge, big-time game changer. And for those of us juggling all the things, the careers, the family, the personal aspirations, right? Knowing the difference between healthy and toxic productivity, you guys, it's crucial. The pressure to excel in multiple roles will lead us to burnout if productivity is pursued in this toxic manner that we just kind of went over. Like chronic stress from toxic productivity will activate your body's fight or flight response. It doesn't feel safe, right? Your body is just constantly rushing one thing to another, and your nervous system is like, oh my gosh, we must get into fight or flight. Something's going on here. And then your body releases hormones, stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And when we're stuck in that state chronically, right? Over time, it leads to so many different physical and mental issues, anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, autoimmune conditions, burnout. I guess it's a good place to like plug my Heal Your Burnout private podcast series. If you guys have been on the hamster wheel of busyness in the pursuit of productivity and you're flipping exhausted, you're probably burned out. And I would just encourage you and invite you to check out this 5-part private podcast series all about how to heal from burnout. 5 really short, actionable episodes. It's totally free. There's a link in the show notes. I walk you through not only the 3 stages of burnout, so you can get a feel for how serious your burnout is, but also my 6-step framework. So you'll learn how to heal burnout so you can have a plan of action, know a framework of what you're going to need to do or stop doing in order to heal from burnout. And a big part of it is really just reflecting on our productivity patterns and incorporating self-care into your routine. That's not just like beneficial, I think, but actually essential. So when we trade toxic productivity for healthy productivity, it'll support our nervous system. It allows us to operate in a state of balance rather than constantly being stuck in overdrive. And that balance, it improves our cognitive function. It improves our emotional regulation. It really improves our overall resilience. So we prioritize our tasks that align with our values. We take breaks. We create a sustainable work-life rhythm. And we know that all of that fosters a long-term success and well-being, which is what I know you guys are seeking, as am I. Millennial women, right? We know we're known for our high expectations. We know we're known for our drive, but we've got to recognize that our worth isn't tied to our output. And that's what we're going to talk about. Because I think embracing healthy productivity involves setting boundaries, self-compassion, and really just not just like knowing it conceptually, but really embodying the understanding of how vital it is to rest, and how that actually enhances our productivity. So we can remain vibrant, we can remain engaged, we can remain capable of achieving our goals without compromising our health. All right, so let's go through 5 ways that you can tell if your productivity is toxic and how you can shift your productivity to be healthier. Number 1, toxic productivity is characterized by feelings of guilt and shame and self-judgment when you are not working. And this is one I really had to deprogram myself when I left big law and the corporate world, especially for the years I was a defense attorney and I was tracking my billable hours, right? I was literally tracking my day from the minute I got to work until the minute I came home. I was tracking my day in 6-minute increments. And every 6 minutes of my day had to be accounted for in billable tasks. I mean, imagine if every 6 minutes of your day, you were responsible for doing something billable and you had to meet a certain number of billable hours every month, right? Like there was zero margin to rest my eyes in the day. There was zero margin to rest my brain in the day. Every minute had to be quote unquote productive. Even if I didn't have that particular, even if you guys didn't have like that particular work experience, I think so many of us have been conditioned to feel like we need to fill every moment of the day. Okay, so for this one, how do we shift it to healthy productivity? Well, we shift with a mindset that prioritizing rest and recharging and play are essential, right? We rethink, what does it mean to be productive? Like, what is it, as you're sitting, walking, working, whatever you're doing right now, as you listen to this, just answer that for yourself for a second. What does it mean to be productive? Like, is snuggling your kids and reading them a book at 2 p.m. productive? Is, I don't know, leaving the pile of laundry once in a while to go to the zoo on Saturday morning? Is that productive? Is leaving your desk during lunch and going to eat in a park with fresh air and sunshine on your face without your phone, is that productive? Like, I would argue yes to all of these. But that was a journey to get there. Like, it required me to really examine and rethink and shift my mindset around productivity. So that's the first one. The second sign of toxic productivity is that we sacrifice our personal values for the sake of getting stuff done, right? For the sake of accomplishment. If I asked you guys right now, what are your top 3 core values, just as like a human being, as a woman, what are your top 3 values? What are the 3 things that are most important to you? And you might say the things that a lot of us say are our priorities: family, our children, right? Being a present mom, your marriage, being happy, feeling fulfilled, experiencing a deep level of joy every day. Like, those are all things that are on my top 3 list too, right? And it's probably pretty spot on for a lot of us. But when you actually look at your calendar, you guys, when you actually look at your day-to-day schedule, are those top personal values actually prioritized? Like, is that reflected in your calendar? Is that reflected on Wednesday, right? As you're just like going through the motions of your week? Because I think we all want to prioritize meaningful relationships and healthy marriage and our spiritual life and deep quality friendships. But guys, when we look at our calendar, I mean, how much time do we actually spend on these things, right? Probably not a lot. Like, I think we might all say we value being a present and engaged mom. But when we look at our schedule, we're really just like rushing around in the morning to get our kids out the door. And then we work until late, right? Late in the afternoon or in the evening. Then we rush them to all their extracurriculars. And then we rush everybody home to eat a quick dinner. And we rush through homework and we rush through bedtime. And everyone's just beat. And we try to connect with them at bedtime for a few minutes, right? But it's tough. And, we get through it and everyone passes out. And it's not like, I'm not throwing any shade. I've lived this for the longest time until like last week. I'm not throwing any shade if that's what most of our days look like. But it's just growing in awareness, because if that's really a value of yours, if it's really a value of mine, but we're actually hyper fixated on quote unquote productivity, and being a present and engaged mom isn't actually happening on the day to day, right? That's our life. Like, life is a collection of Tuesdays, you guys. If it's not actually happening on the day to day, we want to realize that and have that awareness. Like, what a gift to have that now before our kids are grown and out of the house, right? I think it's a really good place for a lot of us to start shifting to healthy productivity. So what's the shift here? Like, can you reprioritize some of the tasks that you do or have based on your personal values and your goals? Like, can you make a family after dinner walk a non-negotiable, right? Regardless of all the other stuff. Can you say no to a certain event or some extracurriculars just in this season so you can have more time to be present together, right? Can you, decline like that happy hour work mixer so you can go home and make and eat dinner together? Look at your calendar, right? What are the ways in which you are aligned or are not aligned to your family's values? And just make some adjustments. Start small. So that's the second. The third toxic sign of productivity is that you just feel frantic, rushed, scattered, hot mess express more often than you feel focused. That's a toxic sign of productivity. If you're always feeling overwhelmed by all the stuff you have to do, again, I'm raising my hand here because I lived like this for years, and it's why I'm so passionate about teaching women how to get off the hot mess express. You finally have, time to work or get stuff done around the house and you don't even know where to start. So you're multitasking on like 17 different things and it's hard to focus. That is a sign of toxic productivity. But if we're going to make a shift to healthy productivity, what does that look like, right? How do we feel more focused and less frantic? We've got to intentionally set up our days in advance. And I've tried different things, right? Maybe it's theme days, maybe it's time blocks. Like, I'm experimenting now with both of these. And I think it's been really helpful to boost my creativity. I've built in way more time in my schedule to reflect, way more time in my schedule to cast vision, especially as the leader in my business, as a co-leader in my home, right? I know exactly what I'm going to focus on before the day even begins because I have a weekly planning session. So I can be laser focused when I need to be and focus on the things that actually matter, right? That feels really, really good. And then second, it also gets the important things done efficiently so I can have more time to do those things that really matter to me, like be present with my kids, be present with Jeff, have time to myself so I don't go crazy. And that's number 3. Number four, the fourth sign of toxic productivity is that we are often engaging in shallow work. And what I mean by that is like we're doing all the things, right? You're doing all the stuff, but the stuff you're doing all day long doesn't actually move the needle, right? You're stuck in all the busy work. You're doing like these little bits and pieces of stuff here and there. And that is, frankly, that's stuff that should probably be delegated or saved for another time or not done at all. And that's why you feel like you're never getting anything done, right? You're checking your email all day long. That's a total waste of time, you guys. If you're responding to emails as they come in, it's not going to move the needle. You don't have boundaries around your time. So then maybe you spend way longer than necessary on certain tasks, right? We all know Parkinson's law. Like you will fill the time allotted for a task. So if you have to write a report or if you have to clean the bathrooms, it will take as long as you give yourself. If you give yourself the morning to write a report, you'll probably like putz around and pop all over your email and return some calls and scroll social for a while you're writing, and it'll take you the morning. But if you give yourself 45 minutes and, you leave your phone in the other room and close your email, you just went like laser focused on that report, you're going to get it done in 45 minutes and it feels so good. And that's the shift here really toward healthy productivity, is learning how to engage in deep work. I'm talking about protecting uninterrupted, focused work time or whatever it is that you're doing, right? Focused cleaning time, focused planning time, focused family time in a certain time frame that actually moves the needle of important things that have to get done. And then the last one, the fifth toxic sign of productivity, is being driven by perfectionism, unrealistic expectations. One of my favorite books is called The Gap and the Gain. If I have worked with you one-on-one, or if you've worked with me inside of Restore, our group coaching program, you've probably heard me talk about this book. It's by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, The Gap and the Gain. And he talks about perfectionism and unrealistic expectations, and the understanding that perfectionism and unrealistic expectations are ideals, you guys. And here's the thing about ideals. It's that it's like being in the desert and trying to get to the horizon, right? It's like every step you take forward, that horizon seems to just take a step back. So you keep going and pushing and like going and going and going, but then so does the horizon. And you're actually making a ton of progress, right? You're moving forward. If you look back, you would see your footsteps, like you're crossing ground. But because you're so focused on reaching that ideal, because you're so focused on reaching that moving target, that horizon, you just can't reach it. And then what happens? You get so discouraged, you eventually just kind of give up. So how do we shift this to healthy productivity? We learn how to do it messy. We learn how to have reasonable expectations for what can actually get done in a day. Guys, nothing will stifle your productivity like perfectionism. So do a good job, right? Do a great job and then release it. Even with this podcast, you guys, like don't go back and listen to the first 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes. They took me forever. I wrote like a whole script and I researched and I edited the script over and over. And then I would record it like 2 or 3 times because I didn't like the tone of my voice, or I would stumble over my words, or I'd, lose my train of thought. And I thought it sounded too echoey or too scripted or whatever. And then I was like editing the audio tracks for hours. I was removing the sound of every breath. I was removing every filler word. Like that was so unproductive. And it was so unproductive because I was chasing an ideal that didn't exist. And the truth is that no one really cared if I said, no one really cared, if they could hear me breathe because, breathing is like a human function. So I actually had to get comfortable releasing episodes messy, right? The content was awesome. That's why people were coming to the show. That's why the show was growing at a crazy pace. But y'all, done is better than perfect. And what happened is that back to that Parkinson's law, I start to give myself an hour. I got an hour to write this episode, record it, and edit it, right? Top to bottom. And guess what? I could get it done and I could release more episodes. And then I would have more time to do the other important revenue generating work, be with my family. And my downloads actually went up because no one really wants perfect anyway, you guys. They don't. You don't listen to the show because the audio quality is perfection. I'm literally sitting on a bed right now in my Airbnb holding my microphone in my hand, which is cramping up, but it's real. And that's what people want, right? They want interesting and they want helpful. So releasing the quest for perfect podcast episodes for me, but whatever it is for you, it improved my productivity, 10x. So I'm believing this was really helpful for you guys. I think we can all stand to look at our productivity, our relationship with productivity, and assess it without labels of like good and bad. But man, like how can I tweak some things, right? How can I make this a little bit healthier? How can I change a couple things here or there? How can this serve me better? And then just doing that, choosing one or two ways to shift or focus on, start this week and see how much of a difference it makes. I also believe this probably opened our eyes, and now we're going to catch some of those unhealthy productivity habits and those unhealthy mindsets sooner. And that's just the name of the game, right? Catching these things sooner so we can pivot and we can adjust. So when you're feeling like you're rushing, when you feel like you're busy, when you feel like you've just been working on surface level stuff and multitasking all day and the needle's not moving, you feel like you've gotten nothing done, but you haven't stopped, right? I know that feeling, but now you're going to catch it more quickly and you're going to be able to reflect and to observe and to reevaluate and to adjust. And that is the work, my friend. That's the life's work. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Thanks for being with me today. If you haven't listened to the Heal Your Burnout Private podcast, go ahead, click on the link in the show notes. Check it out. Believing it's going to help and bless you guys. All right, friends, I will talk to you soon. Be well.
If you love Mommy's podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.